Hello and welcome to Seton Hall Pirate TV's post-game coverage of the Seton Hall men's basketball 80-77 loss against the Providence Friars. I am your host, William Play, alongside my analyst, Louie Pasculli. And we've done some pre-game, some halftime coverage on Instagram Live, and now we're here on YouTube with the post-game. And Louie, that first half, both teams shot very well.
Oh, yeah.
We saw, Kale had 4 threes. What in that first half? How did the Pirates separate themselves from the Friars in that first half?
Well, like you said, the 4 threes from Kale was huge for Seton Hall Pirates. Also, Mamu did a lot other than scoring. He had a few assists, he had some boards, and that helped Seton Hall a lot in that first half. And as you said, the shooting was insane in the first half from both teams, from both Providence and Seton Hall. So it was a high-scoring first half, and the shooting really helped.
Yeah, the score at the end of the first half, 40-38, Seton Hall on top. Both teams, like you said, shooting very well, but then second half came along. Completely different story.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw Seton Hall struggle. Kale struggled, couldn't really get going. He had 14 points in the first half, but then finished with 16 in the game. Yeah. And neither team could really find separation. And Louis, what did you see in that second half that kind of fell apart for both teams?
Well, I think it was the defense. The defense got better in the second half, and so that led the way for less scoring in that second half. Miles Kale had trouble in the second half shooting-wise. He didn't get as many points as he had in the first half. He didn't hit too many more shots after that, only one, like you said. And Mamu did find a way to work in his way shooting the ball, but that was from the free throw line. It wasn't from the field. He didn't have too many shots from the field, and when he didn't shoot very well percentage-wise from the field. So the defense got better in that second half, and it obviously went into overtime, and Providence had the final shot there. And that was the deciding factor.
Yeah, it really wasn't. And, you mentioned how Mamu couldn't really score from the field and got most of his points on free throws. But, even though he made some of those, the Pirates really left a lot of free throws out there. I mean, what difference maker do you think that could make? Because I remember one play, I think it was Mamu missed three straight free throws and Pirates lost by 3. So, what do you think was the biggest? Do you think that, really impacted the game?
Oh, yeah. Shooting free throws and making free throws was one of my key to the games before this game. Mm-hmm. And Mamu missing those free throws were crucial. I mean, it went into overtime because the score was tied. So if he makes one of those free throws, then Seton Hall comes out victorious. But instead, it goes into overtime and they end up losing to Providence, which is unfortunate. But those free throws will kill you, so you got to make them.
Yeah, and then speaking of Providence, they had 2 players notch double-doubles. Mm-hmm. You had David Duke with one and then Nate Watson with the other. Yeah. The 2 guys we were talking about at the beginning, then A.J. Reeves. And then Bynum also chipping in double digits. How does that – what do you do about that? 2 guys going double-doubles. Not much you can do. Do you think the Pirates could have done more?
It would have been hard because, like I said, in pregame, Providence has a really good offense and a lot of people can score. So you asked me who should Seton Hall shut down for this game, and I said I couldn't give you a straight answer because I said it's going to be hard to. And I think Seton Hall played okay defensively. They could have played a little bit better. But even in doing so, they still had – Providence did. They still had people who could score. And as we saw, 2 double-doubles, which there's not much really you could do against that. I know the game went into overtime, so maybe those stats were padded a little bit. But even so, 2 double-doubles is really good for Providence.
Yeah, and then overtime, really, neither team could find separation. A couple threes here and there. Mamu came up big with a few and ones, but then at the end it was Providence getting that shot, giving them the 80-77 lead, and then Seton Hall really couldn't find a shot there at the end. I think that was the biggest thing. They were struggling to find a good shot there, but that's the final 80-77. Providence wins in overtime, and Providence is one of those teams that were picked to finish over Seton Hall in the Big East preseason polls. Louis, what do you think this says about that poll, and what this says about this Pirate team?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping the poll isn't too accurate, but it might look that way as of right now. Seton Hall is coming off a 4-game winning streak, so I was a little bit surprised to see them take this loss today. But I think they'll bounce back after this game, and they'll play a bit better, maybe a little bit better defense. But as for Providence, I think that they could actually do well. They were, as you said, they were projected to be over Seton Hall, and they're showing why they were projecting that today.
Yeah, and Providence, a very talented team led by Duke and Watson. We saw that on display today.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But Seton Hall, you said hopefully they could regroup and move on and get a win next time. And their next game is this Wednesday. The Georgetown comes to visit the Prudential Center. And that's a tough game.
Not gonna be easy.
Georgetown, not the best team. Mm-hmm. What do you think Seton Hall can take from this game and improve on and use that in the Georgetown game?
the basic fundamentals of basketball: free throws and defense. Seton Hall has to make those crucial free throws. Percentage-wise, they actually shot fairly well from the free throw line, but towards the end of the game, they really needed to make those free throws in order to come out victorious, and obviously they didn't do that. And defensively, you don't want to have two guys have a double-double against you. They got out-rebounded as well, so Providence had more rebounds than them too. That double-double from the two double-doubles, I should say, is really what hurt them. So if they can get better defensively, and then that'll give them a better chance this Wednesday.
Yeah, I definitely think the free throws, the defense, I mean, I just think better shot selection in general.
Oh, yeah.
And you need more guys to step up. Like Takal Molson didn't really do much tonight. And Ike Obiagu, again, another guy needs to step up. And Aiken was surprisingly absent in the end of that game. He didn't play too much. So, I mean, out of those three guys, who do the Pirates need to come back and have a big game on Wednesday?
Well, I think it's Obiagu because he's the only starter out of those three that you just mentioned, and he only finished with 6 points. The rest of the starting five had double-digit points. He only had 6. He did have 9 rebounds, which is really good for the team, but even so, I think he's got to do more offensively and step up for this next game.
Yeah, I mean, that will be the story, and, the Pirates will take on Georgetown this Wednesday, December 23rd at the Prudential Center, and, that'll do it for us here. The breakdown of the Providence game, 80-77 in overtime. A Providence Friar win. Ed Cooley and his boys heading back to Rhode Island with a victory, and Seton Hall a nice 2-1 record in Big East play and 5-4 overall. So for Louie Pasculli, I'm Liam Plate. That'll do it from us here from Prudential. Make sure to catch up on all our coverage and on Hall Talk as well, all our coverage of Seton Hall basketball, men's and women's. And